what are you seeing, or what would you anticipate the tendencies being? Like, what is being missed in the vegan diet, and what are we maybe overdoing on our side? I guess would be my question, is like, what is the happy middle?
We work with vegan athletes too, and I just want anyone who listens to this, I'm not against anyone following a vegan diet. Do what works well for you. We're just here to help support and provide the science and the facts. But typically, when you assess a vegan, they're at a high risk for low protein, iron, folate, zinc, B12, magnesium, even. So a multivitamin, saying that a multivitamin is sufficient is a very concerning and inflammatory statement to come out of someone who has a big following. So I would challenge that. I'd throw the challenge flag and say, just because we take a pill, that doesn't mean that we absorb all of it. Just like our food that we eat. We don't absorb everything. Bioavailability plays a key role. So plants versus animals, like that's the thing with vegans is they're not consuming the highest bioavailable sources of protein because you have the fiber, you've got to try and break that down. And that inhibits some of the leucine and some of the other amino acids. So that's why beef, chicken, fish, eggs are the highest bioavailable protein source because we can break it down and we can access it and we can actually absorb it versus plants. Right, they have that defense mechanism from the fiber and the anti-nutrients. So they're not bad things, but vegans don't absorb the protein sources in the same way just because of that bioavailability. And when we work with folks, we help them understand, hey, if you are going to follow a plant-based or vegan diet, you're going to have to double your chickpeas, your soy, your beans, things like that. And that fiber will not make you super happy. And being that satiated, it's difficult to meet your needs. So I really liked your comparison question. When people that eat meat, they tend to have more muscle, they have stronger bones, they're at a lower risk for diabetes, type 2, of course, obesity, and insulin resistance. So I'm not biased. I mean, I worked for the Dairy Council, but I saw firsthand so many people that, maybe I met them when I was working for the Dairy Council and they told me that they were doing the vegan diet. And then 2 years later, I connect with them and they're like, I really took to heart what you said about the dairy protein and I started adding in a little bit of Greek yogurt. I mean, man, my skin feels better. I actually have energy. My family told me that I'm better to be around. I'm less gassy. I have more energy. All those things. So I think that, people understanding that it's great to be conducive to the environment, but the environment from a biblical standpoint, because I am a Christian, we are technically supposed to rule over the animals. It's not supposed to be the other way around, or this earth. God created the earth for us to use and respect. So I just think that for vegans that choose to respect the environment, I really appreciate that. But for those that think that they're healthiest when they follow a vegan plan, unfortunately, that is not what the data supports. Most people that follow a vegan plan tend to be nutrient deficient in calcium, vitamin D, especially young girls as well. And they're, losing their hair. They have weak bones. They have stress fractures. So just from a all case mortality as well, it'd just be better to follow more of a balanced, eat both plants and animals for long-term health.
One of the things, I mean, obviously we're Christians too, and I really appreciate you saying that, because that was kind of leading into my next question, was like, one of the things that I see argument wise is people debating in our posts was like, one guy said we have a gallbladder so we're supposed to eat meat, which I have no idea if that's true or what that even means. But I'm seeing people say things like, you can tell we're supposed to eat meat because of the teeth we have. You can tell we're supposed to eat meat because of this. And obviously we take our guidance from the Bible, but what I'm hearing from you is that the perfect diet probably for most people is going to include some sort of meat source, for us to operate like our bodies are supposed to.
You are right, Kyle. I'm sure you like hearing that. Everybody, Kyle's right here. Yes.
He hears it
Uh,
enough as it is, mostly himself in the mirror. But
Thank you, Wendy.
you brought back up just real quick with the supplement. So the multivitamin argument for a lot of people,
Yeah.
keep in mind that our supplements are regulated, but they're not as heavily regulated as our pharmaceuticals. So just because people take a multivitamin, that does not guarantee that you're meeting your nutritional needs. I mean, I could create something in my garage and it could have sawdust in it, and until the FDA can prove that I've made harm, it's not going to be pulled. So I would not rely on supplements. Obviously, if it's a third party tested one, then it's going to be more beneficial, like if it's creatine monohydrate, or if you are doing vitamin D3 or magnesium, which a lot of people are deficient in magnesium, especially if they're not eating a lot of meat as well. But the perfect diet is colorful. It has a variety of nutrients so that you meet a variety of needs.
I kind of have a question. You were kind of saying like you're not anti-vegan by any means if that's what works for you. Is there like a specific person out there that you think of that's like, oh, they should be on an all-plant diet?
Um, to answer that, a type of person,
She's like, not a Christian. No,
well,
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
oh,
kidding.
yes. I would say, so if I had, say, for example, say I had someone's labs in front of me and this person is, they have their C-reactive protein, the marker for inflammation. Say this person was incredibly inflamed. What I would recommend is obviously we know fruits and vegetables contain antioxidants, anthocyanins that reduce inflammation. That is consistent. And, we need to eat at least 3 to 5 servings of fruits and vegetables per day. And we know too that fruit and vegetable intake is associated with a reduction in colon cancer, right? And a lot of other cancers. So we know that we need to have both fruits, vegetables, animal proteins, healthy fats as well, because there are water soluble and fat soluble, vitamins. So to answer your question, if somebody was, say they were a cancer patient, they were seeing an oncologist dietitian, that would be the type of person that I would say, yeah, this person has a lot of inflammation. They have a lot going on. They should be on more of a plant-based diet, but I would still have them integrate Greek yogurt, just because as I shared, it does reduce inflammation. So they would do a lot of Greek yogurt and fish, salmon, white fish as well, halibut, fatty fish, and then probably some oysters. Maybe that person would be recommended a little bit less red meat just because when we make room for more fruits and vegetables, then we can reduce the inflammation. But then once we get those labs in check, then we can start introducing more of the other animal proteins in the meats. And that's what's great about, an elimination diet or, people that leave the processed foods behind. You were talking about McDonald's and fast food, right? You can still eat that stuff, but you have to watch the amount of it, right? It's all the dose is in the poison is in the dose.